Hello. Now, so this is a quote from Steve Jobs. All I ask is that today you do the best work of your entire life. Wow. So if every one of us can put our best, yeah, to our work, so definitely we are going to make a lot of changes, yeah, to a lot of impacts to ourselves as well as the society. Let's continue with our um, SPM questions. Yeah, this is question number two. It is related to Form 4 chapter number 4, chemical, uh, the chemical compounds in the body cells. So let's look at this. So first of all, we have this is what we call a STEM question, followed by stimulus ST. So from here we see a plate of rice, honey, and milk. So A1, based on diagram 2.1, so we have to base our answer on this diagram. Name, remember, if you see this task word, make sure that you name and spell correctly the type of carbohydrates in rice and honey. So what is the type? There are three types of carbohydrates. We have polysaccharides, disaccharides, and monosaccharides. Example of polysaccharides are starch, glycogen, and cellulose. Examples of disaccharides are maltose, sucrose, and lactose. Examples of monosaccharides are glucose, fructose, and galactose. Alright, so this year, some students got their answers wrong because they couldn't differentiate between type and example. So here we only accept, unfortunately, this year we only accept answers such as polysaccharides and monosaccharides. Alright, now let's move on to number two. Explain why diabetic patients are advised not to consume excessive amount of rice in their daily diet. So there are two keywords here. So why this group of people are not advised? So they are not advised simply because what now? So we have to relate it to these two keywords. So number one, it is because the rice contains starch, and the starch is hydrolyzed to glucose when we eat them. Then number two, excess glucose cannot be converted into glycogen. Why? Now we have to relate it to keyword number one right now. It is because the diabetic patients cannot secrete enough insulin. So that's why their blood glucose level is high if they consume excessive amount of rice. So keywords are very useful because they actually guide us on what to write. Then number B. So we have diagram 2.2 shows the formation of molecule V in milk. So we know that the milk contains lactose, and lactose itself is a disaccharide. So based on diagram 2.2, describe as a task word the formation of molecule V. So we have molecule V here. So formation refers to the forward process. And number two is about the breakdown of molecule V. So we are looking at the reverse process. So how do we tackle this question? So number one, we are going to state the formation, the process first. This process is actually condensation because a molecule of water comes out when V is formed from T and U. So for P2 until P4, we are going to describe about the process of condensation. So how does it take place? So first of all, we have the T, um, and U. So this one could be glucose or galactose, because they are actually quite similar, yeah, in terms of their molecular structure. They are all hexagon. So this could be, if T is glucose, then U must be galactose. If U is glucose, then T must be galactose. If U is glucose, then T must be galactose. Now, so these two combine, yeah, to form a bond between them, and this bond actually is not in the syllabus. Okay, it's not required in the syllabus, but just to help you to recall and learn more. This is actually the glycosidic bond. So a glycosidic bond is formed between T and U. comma, producing a molecule of water, a molecule of water. So to form a molecule which is known as lactose. So if you look at the previous questions, here we are not asked to label V. So if you write V as a lactose, so basically you get 1 point. Now, so like P2, if you label T and U, actually you get 1 point as well. All right. So base your answer on this diagram. So T and U combine to form a bond. Yeah, that forms a molecule known as lactose, and this process produces a molecule of water. So you get, yeah, this is how you get the 2 marks. Then number two, the breakdown of molecule V. So this process is hydrolysis because we use water molecule to break down the glycosidic bond to form one molecules of T and one molecule of U. So hydrolysis occurs. So P2, P3, and P4 explain about the hydrolysis process. So the molecule V is broken down, or we say is hydrolyzed with the addition of water molecule to form two monosaccharides, so which are T and U. So in examination, you don't actually have to write down the P. You don't have to label your answer as P1, P2, P3, or P4. Make sure that, okay, when writing, all these points they are written in one sentence. Yeah? Make sure that the sentence is complete. Okay, that is the most important thing. Okay, you don't have to help the examiner to split one sentence into 3 parts, because if you do that, then each point is basically hung. All right, so don't worry, now let the examiner to help you to find the marks. Now let's continue with C. When sucrose solution is heated with Benedict solution. So this is used in food tests to determine the presence of reducing sugar. So let's recap. So what are reducing sugar? Now, so basically reducing sugar are reducing a agent. So they actually have the ability to reduce Cu2 plus, okay, which is blue color to a Cu plus compound, okay, which is a brick red precipitate. So that's why the Benedict solution is actually blue in color. So because Cu2 plus is blue, as we learn in chemistry, yeah, like copper sulfate, copper chloride, they are blue in color. Um, and then Cu2 plus, Cu plus, okay, the copper oxide is actually a brick red precipitate. All right. Now, so can you give me the examples of reducing sugar? We have basically all the monosaccharide and disaccharides, such as glucose, um, fructose, and galactose, maltose, and lactose. So the sucrose that we take every day, now this is the cane sugar, is not a reducing sugar because it is unable to reduce Cu2 plus in the Benedict solution into brick red precipitate. So let's look at question number C. This sentence is important because it serves as a STEM questions or stimulus. It gives a picture about Benedict solution. What does it do? All right. So basically, the color changes if reducing sugars are present. Now, number one. So we are going to entertain each keywords in our answer. So number one, I'm going to mention about the sucrose. The sucrose is a non-reducing sugar. So that's why sucrose gives a negative result because what? Because it does not react with Benedict solution. That's why reduction does not occur. The Cu2 plus ions cannot be reduced. So can we talk about the negative result a bit? Yep, okay, we mentioned it in P4. No formation of brick red precipitate. Alright, now so if you look at it, yeah, my P3 entertains keyword number one. Alright, it talks about the Cu2 plus ions in the Benedict solution. And then my P4 talks about the negative result because the Cu2 plus cannot be reduced, so that's why there is no brick red precipitate. My P1 and P2 actually talk about sucrose. Sucrose is a non-reducing sugar, so that's why it does not react with Benedict solution. So if you understand how to make use of the keywords, then they are going to help you a lot in your examination. Alright, so this is how we score questions number 2. So here we meet again in questions number 3.